Yo. Hey you, it is me, Mr. Rena shooting Mr. Rena Star. How is everyone tonight? Um, I am just sitting here thinking about basically Brexit and what it means for us black people here in the UK. Do you think that Brexit is going to destroy the UK? And have you thought about Plan B? Do you think that Brexit will cause a lot of hardship, and should you not be planning your Plan B escape route to go and move to another country, another continent, because Brexit is going to cause a lot of disruption in people's lives? So, are you not planning a Plan B? Because Brexit is going to be the one, the one that's going to determine, you know, what's going to happen. And it's not looking very rosy because there is a no deal Brexit. So literally you're going to come out of it without any, benefits to the EU whatsoever. So yeah, is anybody reconsidering relocating to another part of the world? Because it just seems like Brexit is going to cause a big problem, and more people need to speak about it, because I don't see it as, well, I see it as a big problem basically. I honestly think that it's going to be a big problem. The fact that this whole Brexit thing's going to take another 6 years, it's just going to destroy the economy. Things are going downhill. Let's just not hide about what's going on. I just feel like the issue is should be amplified, and it should be on top of the news coverage, but I feel like it's being controlled, and people are not talking about the problems that are coming because they don't want to disrupt things even more. But it's going to be a massive problem. And if you are coming out of the EU without a deal, without some sort of guarantee that you'll have the same things that you're having now, um, then that just means it's going to be one shaky ass future. You know, you lot need to be planning your escape routes. You black exodus back to the continent, because there is only one choice, the continent of Africa. That's where you lot should be heading. This Brexit thing ain't looking good right now in the UK. So, is anybody planning what their exit route is? You know, maybe this is the final push. Brexit is the final push for, black people to go back to the continent of Africa. And, maybe the racists of the 80s, when they said go back to Africa, they meant well. Maybe they really did mean well, because you really should go back to Africa. But then what they don't realize is this whole system without black people will not function. It will, be destroyed, just like how the Pharaoh didn't want to let the Egyptians out of Egypt. The same thing with the UK, you know. So, um, is there a Moses amongst our leaderships, amongst our community here in the Black British community? No, there is no Moses. There is no Black Moses in the UK, because it's predominantly anti-black. Um, if it is black, it's they're told to be in either entertainment or sport, but they've never been encouraged to go to be political. There's very few, and there's very few that young people will look up to who's political, so they're not very politically engaged, and they don't vote. That's the honest truth. So they are very politically mute. So I don't see no black British Moses. The only one that visibly I can see is, what's his name? Stormzy. But he He is clever, he's a musician, but he's no politician. So there is no Black Moses to bring the Black community out of Babylon and into the promised land. There really isn't, because we have not been raised to be political or think collectively. We've been raised to marry out interracially. That's one thing that's been heavily promoted, is to what's the word, integrate. They call it integration, but really it's to destroy your community. So integration has just been pumped for the past couple of decades, and obviously that's not to benefit the community, that's to destroy the community. I don't see Indians being encouraged to integrate, you know to that level. So yeah, they see it as a badge of honor to integrate and marry interracially, or have a girl. That, I mean, it just feels like that's their only thing that they've been promoting for a while. And this society is, it's going down. Capitalism is going to break down very soon. So have you thought about moving to the continent? Because it's not going to work anymore, okay? There is a no deal Brexit, and no deal Brexit literally means that they're not going to have the terms that they expected that they're going to get. And it's very shaky, shaky waters and uncertainty, and not knowing what's going to happen. And why are more people not talking about it? The fact that they're going to be sitting there talking about Brexit for 6 years is going to kill the communities of entire UK, with boredom. There's going to be more knife crime because nothing's being done. There's going to be more chaos, and there's going to be a general decline. I can see it happening because there's no damn strong leadership in this country. There's nobody to lead the people. There's nobody to say, let's do this, let's do that, let's build this. There's nobody, because they're just holed up in a palace in Brussels discussing Brexit, longing it out, dragging it out. But there's going to be chaos because people voted for Brexit, and if it doesn't happen, then there's going to be more chaos because nobody's been listened to. So basically, Brexit is a big problem, people. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect the average Joe. It's going to affect the pound. It's going to affect when you go on holiday. Do you get me? It's literally going to affect what is going to happen. And the only solution, I think, is to have an exit. You lot need to plan your escape to go to another country, preferably a black country, preferably Africa, because it looks like that. And it's just amazing that, with all this political situation and uncertainty in America, and now with Brexit, it really is going to affect a lot of people. And have you thought about your exodus back home? But do you think Britain needs a Black Moses? Who could be a Black Moses that will lead the Black British community out of Babylon and into the promised land? Who could possibly lead? Is it David Lammy? No, I don't see him going to Africa. He's a proper Jamaican, you know, but who knows? Maybe he could be the one. There really isn't. Maybe it's a female leader. Who knows? But I just feel like there's not enough potentially young people who are talking about Brexit. None of them are. None of these grime stars even understand what Brexit means. None of these musicians talk about Brexit. Do they even understand what Brexit? No, because the average black British Londoner hasn't been explained how politics works, really. They've been discouraged from joining in politics. They only want you to talk about sports and football and interracial and swirling. They've been encouraging swirling, and they've treated black men and women as two separate species, and how they should all be dating the opposite race of what they are. That's been seen, and that's been pushed, unfortunately, in our community, and that's why this community is not that strong. So it's just they it's quite sad that they don't talk about what's happening. I mean, the African Americans talk about what happens with Trump daily, but this Brexit thing is going to affect you. It's going to affect the average Joe. It's going to affect whether you have your, you know, your favorite European dish, prices are going to go up. They literally are, and it's going to affect, the whole community. Have you considered leaving? Have you considered plan B? If things get too bad, where would you go? Have you ever considered that? Don't you think you should consider it? Because, um, yeah, things are going to literally change. Things are going to be popping very soon, unless there's a general election which will save the day. But I don't see that happening because now the Conservative government are literally passing around their position throughout the whole cabinet. Like, if she resigns, then that Indian guy is going to be prime minister. It's just a joke. How many times can they resign and pass the parcel? If they don't want to do, if they're not doing a good job, then just do a general election and you literally call it out. And I'm sure the results will go to Labour anyway. But you cannot just be passing around your position. You cannot be sacking people and reshuffling people like a game of chess. It's not chess, it's not Monopoly. You need to not do that. Seriously, it's very unprofessional. Then you can spend all the time using the media insulting Jeremy Corbyn when your whole house is not in order. You're fighting and you're planning and you're backstabbing. Wow, this just reminds me of Rome. This reminds me of like when Caesar and all his people just backstabbed him, and they're just having a humongous backstage fight behind the scene. And you people are not aware of what's happening. You should just see the infighting, the fact that there's a lot of drama in the Conservative cabinet right now. There is a lot of drama, and with that drama, the Labour Party should be more united. We shouldn't have these rats on the far right part of the Labour Party, you know, infighting with the leader of who's going to actually win them the election. Don't get greedy. You ain't coming into power. Watching the Conservatives, devour each other, then the other right wing part of the Labour are like, oh, we got a chance. What do you mean you got a chance? Okay, these people, okay, Labour managed to bring up their what's the word? Bring up their members through Jeremy Corbyn and his policies, not your grinning your grinning right wing liberal side, which is Tony Blair and them lot. They think they're so entitled. They're just like, yes, we're the rulers, we're the correct rulers of Labour, and they just think that they're gonna just step in after all the hard work that Jeremy Corbyn put into that party to make it cool, and all these young people that encourage everybody to join Labour, and they just think they're going to step over and just come into a position of power. Tom Watson, that fat guy that's now lost weight, he's all trying to make snide comments on Facebook. He needs to shut up. You're not going to be the leader of the Labour Party. You need to understand that New Labour is finished. What is happening is they're going to a general European style of Labour, with Macron and all these other centre left parties, and that's how it's going to be. New Labour and all this New Labour, aka Conservative Party, is not going to it's not going to be anymore. Okay, that's just out of fashion. No one, if you're going to vote Labour, you're going to vote for a proper Labour people, not fake Labour, not fake, what is it, Tony Blair and all them lot, which were absolutely rubbish. No, we don't want that. Okay, that's what caused the recession. That's what caused all of this in the first place. So it's going to go to something different, someone different, like Jeremy Corbyn. So yeah, as they devour each other and they backstab each other, Jeremy Corbyn is just very, very calm, standing in the sideways and telling them, look, you need to call a general election. Okay, people are fed up of seeing homeless people on the streets. They're literally fed up of seeing crackheads. The other day, I must have drove past a bridge in London, and I saw beds on the side of the bridge, yeah, with mattresses and bed sheets. And I saw one that looked really, really clean. It had flowers on it, even had a fluffy pillow. It's clearly a woman's bed, and it looks like she just literally was chucked out of a house recently because the bed sheets are very clean, and people are just walking past, like looking at it because it's got really nice flowery, so it probably was hers, and she just happened to be homeless, and she's just under a bridge, and that's just the situation in the London at the moment. I'm not sure about the rest of the UK. Probably the same. A lot of homelessness, a lot of high house prices, and because all the landlords are Tory members, so they've got all these properties, and yeah, living costs is just too expensive. It's causing a lot of problems for the average people, and employment is just 0 hours, nothing amazing, you know. So they're making it sound like, oh, there's employment, but no, 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 0 hours contracts, literally 0 hours contract. A lot of black people are being used, and working class people are being used to work in these startups that don't pay enough, and it's just not reaching the news. Basically, it's not reaching the news. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Really, is everybody ready to vacate? Because Brexit is around the corner, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. So yeah, um, yeah. What's your view on that? Another thing I would like to talk about is, let's have a look. I'm just listening to some really old songs. Yeah, I'm going to put Yanni back on because I like his dramatic music. Kind of hypens it up, when things, when you talk about certain things and you just put it on, it will hypen it up and everything. So, um, yeah. What else was I going to talk about? Um, yeah, basically the system of white supremacy, I think it's crumbling. I see it all around, with all these movements on social media. It's crumbling. Does anyone else think it's crumbling? I really think it is. Um, right, let me just, where's this timeout? I'm going to put this troll on timeout. May he go to hell, whoever he is. Right, and I'm going to report him. Let's see what I can, hate speech. That's it. Yeah, just reporting a troll. Thanks. Received your report. Yes. Bye. Bye, Felicia. There he goes. Yes. So as I was talking, this no deal Brexit is a big, big problem. Literally, it is going to be a problem. What is everyone's view on that? Because, if they're going to spend 6 years planning on what the terms and conditions are for Brexit, that's just 6 years of boredom. But I do see that the next general election is in 2020. Is anyone actually going to wait for that long? Because nothing is happening with the Brexit, and there needs to be some sort of guarantee that, at least if this deal is not working, then you can just call an election, call it straight away, and yeah, get people out of their misery, basically, because it needs to be done. It really needs to be done. We cannot be sitting here and wondering what will happen after 6 years. That's just too darn long. It's just too darn long, honestly. So yeah, we just need to think about plan B. Where is plan B? Where can you literally leave? I mean, do you want to just? I honestly believe that black people are um, in captivity in 2018. So should they just forget Africa and just go to Israel? But no, but Israel's occupied. So, it's not the right time to go to Israel, because if you go to Israel, then the Messiah will come. So that's not the time. So the best bet is to go to Africa. And we just need a black Moses. Does anybody know a black Moses that can lead the black people and put them into Africa? Do you think you're the black Moses? Hmm? Everyone's talking about, oh, Black James Bond, Black James Bond. But I say forget Black James Bond. Just go for the Black Moses, because we all know that Moses was a black man. He clearly was a black man. He was a leader. He led his people out of Babylon. And where will they actually, what's the word? Cross the ocean? Where would they cross? Would that be like the Mediterranean? I doubt that. I mean, obviously there's more there's planes now, so they don't need to walk through anything. and just get the plane. But you know, it's just very, very similar to what should happen, which is somebody leading them out of Babylon and into the promised land. So I honestly believe that Africa is the promised land. Anyways, as I was discussing, yeah, the system of white supremacy is crumbling, and I feel like white supremacy was the glue that held the society together, and that's slowly crumbling because um, of more because being pro black is fashionable right now. If you look at everything online, you know, being proud to be black, you know, that whole movement from the 70s with James Brown, it has come back again now. So I think it's really, really cool to be black right now. And being pro black has crumbled white supremacy. The system of white supremacy is crumbling down. It literally is, and being pro-black is more fashionable now, and a lot of black people, because obviously I am a black person, and I identify as black, and you know what I say obviously will influence a lot of, well, it's what black people think about. You know, do you feel that we live in the times and a season of being pro-black? Because you know, if you're pro-black, then if more people are more pro-black, then I honestly believe that the system of white supremacy is crumbling down, which is a good thing. It's about time it crumbled down, because you know it's been around for like how many years now? I would say 400 years. Yeah, that was built. You know, the whole system of white supremacy had glued the world dominating colonialism and all that. It literally was the glue that held things together. So now, if it crumbles down, then what happens is there'll be more black pride and more, you know, black pro-blackness, and then with that comes, you know, pan-Africanism. It's just leading to that direction, and I think it's because of the new era of pro-blackness. Pro-blackness is in season. Pro-blackness is in fashion, and that is the system we're living in. And if more people are more pro-black, then the sooner it is that they can defeat white supremacy, which has been the agenda since like the 17th century. I am Miss Jarena Starr. I have been back with another blog, and I'll be back again. Good night.